What's up, beautiful people? It's your boy Joshua Martin, and I want to show you how I configure my GH5 in 2018. And for starters, just to make it really simple, let me introduce you to Underoos. If you don't know that nickname I give my GH5, Underoos! Check out my Instagram stories and you'll see what that means. This is my grab and go combo. If I don't have any time to set up anything, this is what I pick up. I use all manual lenses, particularly the SLR Magic line. And my favorite lens to use with this setup is the 35mm. I use this lens for a lot of B-roll. When I try to get any sounds, I throw on my Rode Mic Video Pro, and most of the time I put on my ND filter so I can shoot at a slightly wider aperture when I'm going around about getting B-roll or shooting. The SD cards that I use are the Angelbird AV SD Pro cards. I have two 128 gigs, and for the vlog setup, I throw on my 8mm or my 10mm SLR Magic lens with the Joby tripod and the Rode mic. I tend to use the 10mm more now because of the wider aperture. But both lenses are really great to use when you're just talking to yourself and just trying to encapsulate everything around you at the same time. Now moving on to the case setup 1. I don't have a nickname for this. If you guys want to throw in a nickname, let me know in the comments below. But this is the B-roll setup. This allows me to get much smoother footage because of the weight of this. Now that I've added the cage, I've added the foot as well as the mic. This gives me a lot more stability when doing these push-ins, pan-outs. I use a small rig handle, which is a much larger and better and more comfortable handle than what came with the Tilta. And it's a NATO rail, so I can be able to reverse it. I can, have it towards me, have it to the side of the camera. So it's quite versatile around it, which I really like. And of course the base plate, this allows me to lay the camera down and pick it up without worrying about it tipping over. And most of the time, like I said before, I use the 35mm or the 10mm as my B-roll lenses. Now moving on to case setup number 2. This is a little bit more robust now. I'm adding the rods, I'm adding my follow focus, and I'm adding the most important part, the Inferno Shogun. So this allows me, of course, most of you already know, this allows you to get the 4K 60p at 422 at the highest bitrate with the GH5. And the current media that I use is from Angelbird. They were kind enough to send over the 4K Eco and the 4K Raw. Both are 1 terabyte. I really like the quality of these drives, but I'll talk about that in a later video. But here are some facts that I like about it already. So the main purpose of this rig has actually several qualities. One, as I mentioned before, you get the full capability of the 4K 60p 422 10-bit yada 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 yada. You get it already, right? What I think is key for me is that redundancy. So now that I have the Shogun attached to the camera, I can record to the SSD as well as recording to the SD because I have it triggered to record both at the same time once I hit the record button on the GH5. And of course, I'll just use the ProRes files coming straight from the SSD and then have backup files from the GH5 as well. And moving on to my favorite setup, which is the Anamorphic rig. Now, SLR Magic was kind enough to send over their anamorphic lenses, the 35, 50, and 70. Personally, I've been using the 50 way more. I think it's a good blend between the both of them, but you will get a more in-depth video of each lens because each of them bring their own characteristics. And I get a lot of questions asking me which lens should you get. So I'll be definitely talking about that in a later video. But back to this is my go-to anamorphic setup. Now, I've been trying to shoot as much content with this lens for clients, for myself, because one, I have a limited time with it, and two, I just really love the look of anamorphic. And I believe you can get some really great quality images out of these lenses, but everything's not perfect. And for this particular rig, the downfall of it is that it's very front heavy. Once everything's loaded to the loaded towards the front, the monitor, the longer lens, it gets sometimes painfully overweight. One way to balance that is getting a V-mount battery along with a shoulder rig so I can have proper balance when holding it, so the weight can be distributed across the whole entire rig rather than all of it in the front. That's probably my only drawback with this rig itself. If anything, I just throw it on a tripod and I'm good to go from there. And there you have it, y'all. This is what I use right now in 2018. These are my gear setups. I really like how fluid and versatile this camera can be. And if you have any questions moving forward, please let me know in the comments below. And thank you guys for the support thus far. And I will check you all on the next one. I am planning to do a anamorphic lens review, so you guys know what to expect when working with these type of lenses. So until then, y'all, I catch you on the next one. Deuces.